We good?
The break, yes.
Oh, shit. Hold on a second. I don't know what I did here.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the Emmaus Borough Council meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just for the record, Councilman Schubsta and Councilman Brown are not here yet. We'll start with personal appeals, part 1. If anyone has an appeal, please approach the podium and sign in. No? Community minute, anybody have a community minute to bring forward?
Sure, I'll just throw it out there.
Roy?
This upcoming week, there are many Emmaus High School events for softball and baseball. So at the community park and down at the Williams Street and Kiwanis Complex, you'll have softball and then baseball down at Community Park. And also there's other softball coming to town with the tournaments on Saturday and Sunday. So be a lot of extracurricular sport activities in town.
Nice.
There were two very well-attended egg hunts this past Saturday. The Kiwanis Club, of course, had their annual hunt, and finding parking was a challenge down there. And then the Emmaus Fire Department, in cooperation with the Lehigh Valley Martial Arts, had about 300 kids attend their event. So good job to both entities, and it's nice to see the fire department having events like that. So hopefully it turns into an annual tradition.
Thank you. For the record, Councilman Brown arrived at 7:03. Special presentations, we have none. Reading of the minutes. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the April 3rd council meeting minutes? Councilman Dufresne, second. Councilwoman Gilbert, any questions or additions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There's 6 ayes. There's Chris made the motion and Lee made the second.
Okay.
We have no decisions on bids. Communications, we received a letter from Chris Bain, the Macungie Borough Manager, requesting assistance for traffic control for 3 different events. We'll assign that to staff. We received a letter or a request from Vince Transgooch from the Emmaus Lions Club to install a flagpole and plaque at the Lions Playground and Ball Field. We will assign that to Parks and Recreation Committee. And then we received a request for appointment to the Emmaus Arts Commission from Olivia Trotman, and we interviewed her this evening. Address it now? We'll address it now. Would somebody like to make a motion to appoint Olivia Trotman to the Arts Commission?
I'll make that motion with a term expiring February 7th of 2019.
Thank you. There's a motion by Councilwoman Gilbert. Is there a second? Councilman Anders? Questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There's 6 ayes. Does anybody else have any communications to bring forward? Borough Engineers Report. We have none. Solicitors Report.
Very briefly, I've been working on the LCA Allentown issue, and I have a meeting with Shane and our engineer and LCA on Wednesday at 10 a.m. And then there's another one set for May 8th, and that'll be more of a vicious one, I assume, because Allentown will be there.
And I won't be. So
That's
if anybody
it.
can actually attend, and that's true, I think I'm at the PSAB conference. So if anyone can attend with Solicitor Dimick to that meeting,
Can
please
you
let
put
me
out
know.
an email to everyone?
Yeah,
and then-
I'll send an email out.
Thank you.
It's the May 8th.
Unfinished business, part 1, we have none. New business ordinance, number 1155. It says first reading April 13th. It's a mistake. It's supposed to be April 17th, today's date. An ordinance amending the provisions of Chapter 1, Part 4, Section A, subsection 407, committees of council of the Borough of Emmaus Consolidated Code of Ordinances to amend the purpose and function of the Community Relations Planning and Development Committee. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve ordinance 1155? Councilman Dufresne, second. Councilman Anders. Any questions or discussion?
Yeah, just a couple things just added here. If you look in your committee notes, here, it shows you the language is added here. So most of the document's the same, but committee shall also serve as council liaison to review plans referred by the Emmaus Planning Commission. That's been added. Also oversee the grant applications and grant management and development of projects. That's been added into here. Also oversee like Flag Day, Memorial Day events for the borough that are not inside parks themselves, that are outside the parks has been added. And also oversight of the Shade Tree Commission and the community-wide function of the Arts Commission, along with being the liaison for some of the department heads for any municipal development projects that are going on here. Just to add a little more substance to the committee. But most of the language is the same, other than that.
Thank you.
Just a question. For the Shade Tree Commission, that's currently under Gen Ad. Do we have to adjust that committee as well?
No, so the idea for the shade tree part is when they want to do plantings.
Okay, all right.
Not necessarily the code provision, we want to keep that.
You want to keep that
We want
part
to keep that with Gen
Ed?
Ed, because,
Okay,
yeah, we want to keep
okay.
more of the code stuff, the enforcement stuff there. What we're looking for is, for Arbor Day coming up.
The actual event itself.
They want to plant a tree somewhere,
Okay.
so.
All right.
That's more of a CRD function than us having to deal with it at Gen Ed.
So that kind of goes to my question too. So it lists some of the commissions. Does that mean GA is still going to do interviews and they're just going to do some of the,
Their goal, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but the goal of the committee is going to be doing the actual community development part.
More of the events type?
Yeah, they're
Okay,
not
that's
necessarily
fine.
interested in any of the enforcement stuff or the interview stuff.
Functioning.
Like,
Okay.
it's really to
Gotcha.
have a single committee doing, making sure that when the Funk 5 Miler comes through, that one committee handling it, not public safety, then back to Gen Ed, then over to Public Works, and then back to Gen Ed again. We're gonna put it on that committee, let them run it from point A to point Z, and let them deal with the departments that they need to deal with, and let them be the central contact. And if that means we have to reword wording in that ordinance, then let's do that. I mean, if that's what you think needs to happen, let's do that. I mean, we don't have to necessarily adopt tonight as far as going to a second reading. So if you think that there's some wording issues there that we need to kind of iron out, we can put it back on committee.
no, I was fine. I just didn't know who was doing the interviews.
But
That's all.
my goal is to make sure that, like, we know what the function is. I just want to make sure the wording
Yeah,
is.
that's fine. It's fine the way it is.
Is right, because that's the goal behind it.
Anybody else have any questions? It's a roll call vote. For the record, Councilman Schubster arrived at 7:06. Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilman Schubster?
Aye.
Councilman Anders?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilbert?
Aye.
Councilman Dufresne?
Aye.
Councilman Barrett?
Aye.
Councilman Ladenburg? Aye. There are 7 ayes.
Okay.
Unfinished business part 2, there is none. Items not on the agenda. Anybody have anything to bring forward? None. Mayor's report?
Yeah, I'm going to read the Arbor Day proclamation. Proclamation 421. Whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products, increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, beautify our community, and trees are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas trees must be properly planted and maintained to provide long-term community and environmental benefits. And whereas Arbor Day plantings and celebrations improve neighborhoods and create a sense of place. And whereas each year on the last Friday in April, Emmaus pays special tribute to trees and all the natural resources, benefits they provide, and dedicate themselves to the continued vitality of our forest. Now therefore I, Winfield Yopes, Mayor of the Borough of Emmaus, do hereby proclaim April 28, 2017 as Arbor Day in the Borough of Emmaus, and urge all citizens to support the planting of trees and to promote the well-being of this and future generations. done this 17th day of April 2017 at Emmaus, Pennsylvania. And they had asked me to read this when they plant the tree. I guess, well, I heard they might be planting at the Canals Homestead, and I said I'll come down and do it then. Okay, progress.
Thank you, Mayor. That leads us to committee reports. Public Works Committee, Chairman Brown.
Nothing for official action tonight. Our next meeting's May, here in council chambers at 3 p.m. Progress.
Thank you. Health, Sanitation, and Codes Committee, Chairman Schupsta.
Yeah, nothing for official action. I just want to thank everyone for Earth Day. It was very successful. I spent probably 4 hours down there loading electronics out of cars and into dumpsters that we filled 4 truckloads of televisions and air conditioners and you name it. There was a lot of stuff that they brought in. And also the shredding event was extremely successful. And based on the information that I was able to obtain, about 45% of the people who participated in the electronics were Emmaus residents. So I had them check when they were coming up. So I had her ask, and she would just check it off. And it was very successful. We actually had to cut it off at a certain point because we just didn't have any more trucks to load.
Yeah, they turned away about 100 cars.
Yep.
We paid for that the next day.
Yes, with our electronic.
You know, and
recycling.
credit to our refuse hauler. I mean, we filled up the dumpster, plus a lot on the ground. In the middle of the day, they brought over a truck, but it was, too high for our guys to throw up there. So their staff stayed there and they filled that truck up themselves. So they got everything out of there. But we had, in the last 2 months, we had probably close to what we had all year. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Probably in 4 months or 5 months last year at this point. So the program's successful. And even with the regulations that we set forth, we're not getting as much from one person, but the word's out there that you can now get rid of your TV and not have to pay, $25 or $30. So it was quite overwhelming the other day.
Oh, I figured it would be, yeah.
There are some issues, there are some concerns that
Councilman
people
Barrett?
voiced at Earth Day that we need to talk about.
And we have a meeting scheduled this week, so, we can definitely go over that stuff.
Councilman Barrett?
What's the most common item? Is it still TVs? I mean, the big old school TVs?
Yeah, I think it was the large, well, they weren't flat screens back then. They're,
Right, yeah, the big
square.
CRT, or
Yeah,
whatever they're called.
they're gigantic.
Tube
Getting them
TVs.
out of someone's cars was like 3 of us. Those are one of the biggest items. Computer towers.
Yeah.
I saw plenty of those, and a lot of air conditioners.
Yeah.
There was, and some of them were industrial ones. There was 3 or 4 of us trying to put it up on a truck.
Crazy.
It tells me 2 things. One, there's a really high demand for this stuff. And 2, people really do want to do the right thing. So
Yeah.
you got to give them the opportunity, and when you do, they do come out and do the right thing.
It
So
was, and then there was a lot of people asking about batteries. They were taking batteries, but charging $1 a pound. You bring a car battery, it kind of weighs a lot, so we were making suggestions to just take them to DECA or somewhere where they will recycle those types of things for them. But a lot of people had like little bags of batteries, and they were taking those, and everybody was, no problems with paying $1 a pound to get rid of the batteries.
nice.
But almost everything they took, there was only a few items, like broken items, they weren't taking. If it was a television that was like busted.
Well, and that's because the recycling facilities won't take them.
Yeah, that's what they were telling anyone who had something that was like, the casing was missing from the television and stuff, they wouldn't take that type of thing. Yep.
My only thing I did notice was, and I believe Councilman Lavenberg also saw, was maybe we can redesign the traffic flow, because it was actually backing up all the way down.
Oh, it went all the way to the entrance.
It went to the entrance and beyond.
So when I was trying to get to the actual Earth Day event, I was stuck in that line until I drove illegally on the other side to get in there, and then other people followed me. But
Could you repeat that, please?
yeah, well,
There we go.
Can you type that
well,
out?
there were, after I did that, there were a lot of people that followed me because they were trying to get into Earth Day. And and then you had people trying to come back out from the recycling. So if you just have them go down that alley and just have that flow going there and have that second lane for people coming in and just make it one way that day, I think you would be fine. One way and the only exit would be through that
Yeah,
alley
they
then.
put some trucks down at the one end, so people weren't turning around and trying to come back the other way, so they would go back out that side way.
Yeah.
I
But
mean, hugely successful, though. I mean,
Oh,
even
it
the
was-
Earth Day, we had a good crowd come out for the cleanup. If you saw the pictures, I'm sure. You know, so there was a lot of bags of refuse and recyclables picked up in town and in the outlying areas.
So it was very successful. I don't have anything else. We have a meeting, though, scheduled for April 20th at 4:15 in council chambers. Progress.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation Committee, Chairman Anders.
It appears I have many items for official action for hiring this evening. So I will start reading the lengthy list here. So I'll put this in the form of a motion. The first is to hire cashier Noah Geist of Emmaus at $7.25 per hour. The following lifeguards contingent upon their certification training being completed. Sean Merrill of Zionsville of $8.25. Harrison Milo at $8.25 of Macungie. Jessica Duke of Allentown, $8.25. And Cole Rodenbach of Allentown, $8.25. I have also rate increase request for these 3 cashiers. The first is Samantha Brezak to $7.50. Hunter Hillebrand, $7.50, and Devin Neller at $7.50. I also am recommending the following lifeguards and assistant manager. Alex Duke, assistant manager, $11 per hour. Luke Buchanitz, thank you, $10 per hour. Stefan Scheib, $10 per hour. Those are both head guards. Victoria Delgon, guard for $8.75 per hour, excuse me. Richard Hazard, guard, $8.50 per hour. Rachel Heine, guard, $9 per hour. Kenna Kitta, guard, $8.50 per hour. Matt Coles, guard, $8.50 per hour. Hannah Marone, $8.75 per hour. Kevin Rogers, guard, $8.75 per hour. Ann Smiley, guard for Rodale only, $8.50 per hour. Chris Spiro, guard, $8.75 per hour. Julia Tillman, guard, $8.50 per hour. Sarah Kohler, guard, $8.50 per hour. And Sierra Whipple, guard, $8.50 per hour.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the summer help. Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert, any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. 7 ayes.
And I believe with our lifeguard hiring, that is very close to being fully staffed, which is phenomenal. I believe part of it is due to our change in the rate for the lifeguards. So it's great that we started this early. Our pool manager was on top of it and helped to get this kick started. Beyond that, I also wanted to just touch base in our notes regarding the cyclocross. Mr. Bernstein came in with Casey Lloyd and Gabe Lloyd to talk about cyclocross. And if anyone doesn't know what that is, it's a bike course that they set up over off Klein's Lane. And the back there, they set up a trail system. And on Saturdays, they have between 200 and 300 riders. On weekdays, they bring 40 to 70 to town. This year, they're actually going to start in September and bring some other events. So it's a great, something different that comes to the borough and brings different people, and they get to see the area back there and ride it. And beyond that, you can read the rest of the notes, and I'll report progress.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Chairwoman Gilbert.
Thank you. We have 2 items for official action this evening. The first, you will find an application The committee met in executive session on April 5th, and we interviewed 3 individuals for the position of paramedic. The committee is recommending that we hire James Moust of Boyertown to the position of full-time paramedic at an hourly rate of $23.15.
There's a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Gilbert. Is there a second? Councilman Barrett, questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Also on your desk this evening, you'll find a memo from Chief Price. He is asking that we appoint Justin Hammond as a volunteer EMT to the ambulance corps. And I'll make that into form of a motion as well.
There's a motion by Councilwoman Gilbert. Is there a second? Councilman Dufresne, questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Those were the only 2 items that we had for official action. If anyone has any questions from our notes, feel free to ask. Other than that, our next meeting is May 3rd. I'll report progress.
Thank you. General Administration Committee, Chairman Barrett.
All right, we have a few items for official action. The first is a resolution 2017-15, which is disposal of municipal records ranging anywhere from 1966 to 2009, various.
Yeah, there's like traffic tickets or something from the 1960s in there, right? Or
Yeah.
1980s. And
Yeah,
I mean, it's just all sorts of.
Time to
It's all over the place.
clean house and get it out of here. So I'll put that in the form of a motion, resolution 2017-15.
There's a motion on the floor by Councilman Barrett. Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert, questions or discussion? Councilman Dufresne?
I just wanted to ask this before the meeting, but under the police 2008 to 2013 payroll, is that the right time frame?
That's duplicated. So official payroll records are kept in the accounting office.
Okay.
For some reason, well, not for some reason, for their own reason, they keep their own sets of records, and the new chief's direction is it's time to clear up space of stopping
So we
duplication.
have a set of records
Yeah.
for 13, 12,
Yeah.
11. Okay.
The official records are over here in the safes.
Okay.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
We also have an agreement of sale in front of us. If you read your notes, this was proposed by the county, and the process is, first we need to approve this, then it'll go to the county executive, and then it'll go to the commissioners. And it's my understanding that, Mr. Dimick, you'd like to make a few changes to this, or at least review it
Well,
first?
just comments, to be very honest with you, if I may.
Sure.
Just so you know, normally, we ask for some kind of down money, normally, but we are dealing between 2 municipal entities, so if you want to pass on it, fine, pass on it. There's going to be no transfer tax because of this. There won't be any, there will be no tax prorates because it's been tax-free, because it's been municipally owned and it's going to be municipally owned. Normally, I like to do these things as is, but they have asked, and by they, the county has asked to do a phase 1 environmental. Am I overly concerned? No. And all it does is holds it up a little bit. So if you want to just let it go as is, I just wanted you to know that I've looked at all those issues, I pointed them out. There are a couple things that are not the customary way that real estate transactions are handled, but in this particular situation, I am not overly worried. But if they would back out, then it'd been off the market until whatever, May 25th, I guess it is, which is settlement date. And you get nothing for it. But once again, you are also dealing with another municipal entity.
Jeff, who pays for the environmental study? Are they paying for it?
They are.
And just for the record, this proposal was prepared and sent to us from the county. So this wasn't, we didn't do any work with this. This was a proposal that they sent to us.
It's a standard Board of Realtors agreement, stripped down to its bare bones, except for the add-on for the phase 1.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, I mean, this has been a discussion where we were trying to figure out what is the best option. We have the responsibility of the taxpayers and also the responsibility of preserving our land, and we had some good discussion. I think all of us were very close on that. But I'm happy to see that if this goes through with the county, that it would remain public land that could be used. If you've looked over the plans of what the mountain should be over the potential next, who knows, 2 decades, keeping that land made available for the public, I think, is a positive for the town and the rest of Lehigh County.
Well, there's no covenant that I saw with it to require it to be open, just so you're aware.
Well, okay, so I guess that
mean,
it
they
would
could
remain
resell it.
publicly owned by the county. They could sell it.
Well, my understanding is they're partnering with the Wildlands Conservancy, and they're already applying for a DCNR grant to try to get
Yeah.
reimbursed for this. So, the route that they're looking at taking is obviously for recreation use, which makes sense with the property because it connects to another county property, and then it connects to where the shelter house property is.
Right, and I guess I was inferring that, knowing that that is the eventual chain of command, that it would, the hope is that it would remain that, and I think that in all likelihood it will. So
I mean, we could lock it in, but that would throw another,
I don't think it's necessary. I think everyone's working in very good faith here. So I will make a motion for an agreement to approve the agreement of sale of 4052 South 2nd Street.
Do we need to put the amount in there?
I would.
Yes,
For the record.
And so the agreement of sale amount is $70,000.
There's a motion on the floor by Councilman Barrett. Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert, any questions or discussion?
Well, and just to reiterate, that was the appraised value on it. We're not selling it at a discount. That's what the appraisal came in at.
And this is the property that we sent out twice and we got no
Correct.
bids on, so.
Correct.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
The next is the purchase of an upgraded phone system from ET&T. This is phase 1. If you read your notes, this is basically to repair the current system in the police, but it also allows us, once we are in the new building, that we'll be able to work between the 2 systems and have them connected through a VPN.
And as irony would have it, one of our problems is we keep losing voicemail. It was down again this morning for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So who knows if anybody left messages over the weekend.
They did call back.
Yeah.
So I'll place that in the form of a motion to purchase the phase 1 of the upgrade.
Do we need to purchase price? We need to purchase price. It was
It's
$9,009 something.
$992.40.
What is it?
$9,992.40.
Thank you. Motion on the floor by Councilman Barrett. Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert, questions or discussion? Councilman Brown?
Yeah, I have 2 questions. One is, it looks like the primary provider is going to be RCN.
No. That may be what
That's what it shows
their
here.
original proposal shows, but that's not
Yeah,
the
I was going to
case.
say, I think Service
Yeah.
Electric takes care of us.
Well, if Service Electric would maybe improve their customer service and react to the dozens of emails and phone calls that we've made, then they would be a lock. But we've been having problems for 2 years getting this done with them.
Okay.
Also, the
And you can print that, by the way. That's
Also, the gentleman from ET&T mentioned another company. So there's options out there, and we're going to explore all 3 of them, I believe.
And then the second question I have, does this system, does it do a rollover? So if I call the borough, right now I just get Ms. Wessner's voicemail right away. Will this system do a rollover? If I don't get her, maybe it goes to Ms. Teresa?
so. That's not the system's fault. That's our fault. The philosophy of Borough Council, because I had this conversation 5 years ago when I started here, was that they wanted everything to go to one person, and that there shouldn't be any kind of automated thing where they can dial another extension. Because I asked that question, I was probably only here a month, and that was a design issue that the Borough Council members felt that we lose our personal touch when it goes to some kind of automated system and you can dial another extension. The system is designed, we can do that, but that's a philosophical thing. I personally think that people are of the age today that they know, like, okay, I'm gonna dial into the system and it says Borough Manager extension this. I hit the extension, boom, I'm there. Right now, to get me, you have to call somebody at the main office or you have to figure out what my direct dial is.
Right.
So,
Just seems a little clunky.
yeah,
That's
well,
a-
it is, and I thought that was inefficient when we first started it, but at some point.
Do you really
um,
need counsel for that, though?
What's
Can-
that?
Do you really need us to
Well,
decide that?
I brought it forward to Borough Council, and it was actually General Administration that had that conversation.
Yeah, I don't recall it, that's.
Yeah,
that's
it was
what-
about
I-
5 years ago.
If we want to
had that
address it, we
conversation.
can address it in the committee and not discuss it, on the
Right.
floor. But if that's something you want to address, we can address
Sure.
it in committee. Also, maybe we can transition when we go to the new Borough Hall and go to that system.
Yeah.
That'd be a perfect time to do it, probably. But
Yep.
I'll send that
Thanks,
to
guys.
general administration.
Well,
It was just a question, you
have
don't have to do-
a second on the floor.
No, I mean, for the question on the.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. I mean,
No?
it's just throw it,
The
yeah.
system's capable of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not, I was just wanting to
Councilman
ask.
Andrews?
And Shane, correct me if I'm wrong, right now, the current system is if you want to make a call to, say, our ambulance, you have to dial out. You can't just pick up an extension and go,
Correct.
Chief Price, I need to speak with you.
That's correct.
So this will take care of all of that. It's no longer the system where you got to dial out the full
Well,
thing.
so this is phase one. This is the hardware upgrade.
Okay.
That will allow us to do that as we go
As
through the
we
rest of the
integrate.
process.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a step up from what. Okay.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
And I believe that's all the items that we have for official action. Yes, progress.
Thank you. Budget and Finance Committee is myself. We have the bill list, Resolution 2017-16. Would somebody like to make the motion to approve the bill list?
So moved.
Councilwoman Gilbert, seconded by Councilman Schubsta. Any questions or discussion on the bill list? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Are we having a meeting Thursday? Do we need to meet, or do you have nothing on the agenda?
I don't have anything on the agenda at this point, but is it Thursday?
It's marked the 20th, but I thought it would be the 27th, not?
We meet on Thursdays.
Yeah, but
Oh,
wouldn't
it's
it be the
supposed-
27th?
It's supposed to be the 4th.
Yeah, it would be the 27th, not the 20th.
Okay, so that's the wrong date, but even then, will we have anything?
I obviously had some input on making this agenda this week because it is all messed up. I'm sorry. So what happens when Kathy takes a day off? No, she didn't. 27th is when that meeting is.
So do you want to hold off in case something pops up?
You'll let us know?
Yeah, I'll let you.
Okay. All right. Community Relations Planning and Development Committee, Chairman DeVries.
We met on April 13th. You can see the committee notes. Most of the meeting was on what we adopted earlier tonight in the first reading. Nothing else for official action. Our next meeting is May 11th at 4 o'clock. Progress.
Thank you. You have one set of meeting minutes from the Board of Health, and you have the quarterly reports from Fire, Ambulance, and Police to look over if you're interested. And we have Personal Appeals Part 2 if anyone has an appeal.
Hi, Lynn Donchis, 559 Minor. I just actually had a few things. First, a community moment. Tomorrow evening at 7:30, the Concerned East Penn Taxpayers Association, SEPTA, is having a meeting at 6th and Broad Street. And Amanda Holt, who is a commissioner, is going to be talking about gerrymandering. So I thought you might be interested, or others might be. I wanted to say thanks for the flags, because I was, I don't know, there's some weird sense of security carrying a flag across the street, and I think that they, seem to do what they're meant to do. And I was just curious, I read in the April 12th East Penn Press that the April 12th bid opening for the culvert was canceled, and I was just curious, why?
Yeah, and if you've been down by there, or at least last week, you would have seen a couple trucks down there with some drills type of looking things. What happened was PennDOT had asked us to do a couple more bore samplings down there, so we had to get those scheduled. So we canceled it. it's back, it'll be back on once we get the results of the bore samplings. But the reason you need more bore samplings is because you're putting a cement culvert in there. And they need to make sure that what we're proposing, and the soil types down there are going to be conducive. The last thing that they want us to do is put this $200,000 piece of concrete in the ground and it's sand underneath. Or, the wing walls aren't going to be held because the type of soil is wrong. So they had asked for us to do, I think, an additional 3 types of borings. So once that's all finished, it'll be back on the market with the addendum if there's any changes that would need to be made as a result of those.
So then they just have to rebid, or if there's no changes,
Yes,
the
none
ones
of
that
them-
came
none
in
of
would
them-
already
Yeah,
stay?
none of them actually submitted their bids. We canceled it in time so that none of them submitted. But that they will. It'll push our time frame back probably by 3 weeks. It may cause an issue with the first day of school, because the whole idea was to get in there, and construction was supposed to start the day after school, and hopefully be done by the first day of school. It probably will affect that. We've already notified the school that it'll affect that. Probably about a 3-week time period is how far it's gonna push the schedule back.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Borough Manager's report.
Your significant revenue and expense items for the first half of April are in your iPads, if you have any questions on those. We have an executive session to talk about personnel matters. Other than that, I'll report progress.
Thank you. President's business. I'll declare an executive session at 7:37 to discuss personnel matters, as Shane just said, with no action to be taken, correct?
No.
All right, at 7:37. Yes? Reconvening at 9 o'clock. Is there a motion to adjourn? Councilman Barrett, seconded by Councilman Anders. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. 7 ayes. Meeting adjourned at 9 o'clock.
You already said aye.